Hare Krishna everyone, Radhe Radhe. I hope all of you are doing well and you're taking care of yourself at the same time doing the chanting. Today I'm back with shloka number 17, which we are going to do to understand what is the continuation of understanding the difference between the soul and the body and how they're very different from each other. Today we are going to learn something more deeply about the soul, about its size, dimension, where it exists, in what form it exists, and how it is connected to the supreme soul and how it's the source of energy. So let's get started. अविनाशी तु तद्विधि येन सर्वम् इदं तातं विनाशम् अवयस्यस्य न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति, which means know that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasure of the body in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Svetashtavara Upanishad confirms this. बलाग्रसता भागस्य सताधा कल्पितस्य च भागो जीवः स विज्ञेय स चनन्तया कल्पते, which means when the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts again, each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, then each such part is the measurement of the dimension of spirit soul. Similarly, in the Bhagavatam, the same version is stated. Kishagra sata bhagasya satam saha sadrishtamakah jiva sukshma swarupayam sankyatito hi chitkanah, which means there are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spreads throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand the material body minus consciousness is a dead body, and this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. In the Mundaka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Eso nurattam chetasa veditva yashmin pranah panchada samvishvesha pranashchitam sarvam otam prajanam yashmin vishuddhi vibhavati esa atma. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the five kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the five kinds of air, encircling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures, not for any material profit, but for liberation of the minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere, that is Maya. So, the constitution of the atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic literatures, and it is also actually felt in the practical experience of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of this atomic soul as all pervading Vishnu Tattva, that is the God particle. It cannot be all pervading, it is just a part and parcel of the God particle, that is Vishnu Tattva. The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to the Mundaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body. Such atomic particles of the spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha or superior energy. Neither Vedic knowledge nor modern science denies the existence of the spirit soul in the body, and the science of the soul is explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita by the personality of Godhead himself. So this is a slight interesting shloka. Let's get into it. So it means that the soul pervades in the entire body and it cannot be destroyed. And because of the soul pervading in the entire body, we have consciousness within us where, which helps us feel pain or pleasure that is limited to our own body. And then there is something called a collective consciousness also, but we'll come to that later. So individual soul in each body has its own individual consciousness that comes from the soul's presence in the body. So if the soul is present in the body, then only one can be conscious, else there is no consciousness, and then they are called dead bodies. So the size of the soul is actually, if you take a strand of hair, and let's just think that this is a strand of hair, and if you see the tip of it, whatever is the size of the tip of that hair that you have, if you break it into or cut it into 100 pieces, and out of those 100 pieces, if you take each piece and cut that into furthermore 100 pieces, then that one piece that will come at the end is the size of the soul. And the soul is present in a spiritual atom form. Okay, it has several spiritual atoms, just like material atoms exist, but these spiritual atoms are very, 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 very minute, and they cannot be seen through telescope or anything else. Telescope, I'm saying microscope. And in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad or Bhagavatam, it has been mentioned about the size and dimension of the spirit soul, where I said that once you divide them into 100 pieces and then furthermore into 100 pieces, that one piece is the size of the soul. And it has spiritual atoms which are innumerable or infinite in number, right? Cannot be counted. And this spiritual atom is smaller than the material atom. So the spirit and this spiritual atom has certain spiritual spark that runs in the entire body. That is the cause of consciousness or the proof of presence of soul in our body. So whenever someone dies, they still have their body parts and everything is still there, but they do not have consciousness. That is why we call them dead. They do not have the soul anymore in them, and they're not moving, they lay still, right? So if you understand it in the most simplest way, we need energy to move anything, right? So once that energy stops, there is no soul in the body, there is no movement in the body, or there is no consciousness in the body. So material body without consciousness is equal to a dead body, right? So God has control over the life in form of consciousness. So because God controls the soul, he indirectly controls the consciousness, and then he directly controls the life of an individual in terms of whether he wants to take that soul out of a particular body, then that is called death. But the soul is still alive. If he puts the same soul in another body, soul is still alive, nothing has happened to the soul, right? So that is what in material terms we state it as death. So if you see, there's hardly anything to be afraid about when it comes to death, because nothing is actually getting destroyed. It's just the cover of something. For example, think of this pen as an individual, and this is the body. Inside this, you see that there's a refill, right? This is the soul, and whoever has been filling the energy in this refill is God, who is the source. So as long as he is filling the energy, that soul can keep going and the body can function. But once this energy gets over, when God stops that energy, because the purpose of the life of this soul is done in this body, then he will not fill it more with energy, and then once this gets over, this won't move, this will be useless, and then this will be thrown away or this will get destroyed. So this is how simple it is to understand that not cover is everything. There are things inside which you cannot see, that are the reason of why it is functioning that way. Same way our body functions in that way. So in the Mundaka Upanishad, atomic spirit soul size is also mentioned here in the same way, and it is said that these atomic spirit, they are present in the heart, okay, and they spread the influence all over the body through heart as a center. Now they flow in 5 kinds of air, that is prana, apana, vyana, samana and udana. So pranavayu, we know the breathing that is consistently on, right? And it's also a source of energy. When soul purifies from all the contamination of 5 types of these material air, it can lead to spiritual influence. We can get closer to God. So what happens is, they are saying that through Hatha Yoga, one type of a yoga, Vedic yoga form, it controls these 5 types of air and purifies it, which helps liberate the soul from entanglement of Maya. So it not only helps in the physical or the material way, it also helps us in a spiritual way if you're doing Hatha Yoga. So atomic soul, the constitution of atomic soul is mentioned in all the Vedic literatures, and it is not equal to all pervading Vishnu Tattva, that is the God particle, which we talked about in that shloka. The God particle is completely different, but these atomic souls, they are parts and parcels of that God particle or energy. So they spread all over body. Mundaka Upanishad also talks about the fact that atomic soul is present in the heart, where uh, and it's very small that scientists cannot measure it yet, so they say that it does not exist. Material scientist, okay, not the Vedic scientist or the rishis or munis that were there. Because of this factor, material science is way behind Vedic science. Vedic science has come directly from God, because God is in a supreme position to be able to see everything from the top, and He is the one who's created everything. He knows how things function and what is the actual solution, uh, actual best solution for everything and everyone. And hence, that is what Sanatan lifestyle is, right? It is not just about, you know, religious practices, but it's a way of lifestyle which not just helps create a balance on earth for all the life forms and also the non-living forms of existence. That is why it's very, very important to understand what Sanatan is and why it's extremely important for the welfare of all living and non-living organisms. So here in the heart, uh, all the energies exist. It's the seat of all energies, and in heart, the soul and the supreme soul, that is God, both of them exist in an individual or in any living organisms. So all energies come from here. So what happens is that the corpuscles carry oxygen from lungs and gather energy from the soul, and that is spread across the body, which we see as consciousness. When soul leaves the body, the activity stops as energy is not there to move anything in the body. So there is loss of consciousness. Source of energy is actually God, who is like, you can say, is the generator, who generates energy and gives it to us. We cannot generate our own energy, we borrow it from God. And hence, it is also said that the soul is not the source of energy. Soul takes energy and God gives energy. So let us think of it as in a simple example of the sun and the sunshine. So consider Sri Krishna or the Lord or God as the sun, who is the source of light, energy. So it's also called Prabha. Okay. And the sunshine is the spiritual atomic particles, which is fragmental parts of the Lord. That is also that spiritual atom or soul. That is what we call, right? And they carry certain form of energy from the Lord. So here Sri Krishna teaches us the science of soul in Bhagavad Gita. So once we understand that not only everything what we see exist, but most of the things in the universe that exist, majority of it cannot be seen. So understanding that is what is Vedic knowledge, and that is why it's far more advanced and it's far more useful in daily lives instead of the scientific knowledge. Now, think of it as an umbrella. The Vedic knowledge covers all forms of knowledge, even the scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is just one part of Vedic knowledge. So, understanding that everything comes from God as a source, even the gyan or the knowledge or the wisdom comes from God, is the complete knowledge. Else, everything else that comes from ego or something which does not involve God in it, that is half knowledge, which is extremely dangerous for everyone, that we have read about. Okay. I will talk more about this in my next shloka, in the next video, because there is so many interesting factors. We'll get to know about how interesting Vedic science is, along with understanding the science of the soul. Till then, take care of yourself. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, and make sure to do your chanting. Jai Shri Krishna.